everyone, it's Kate from the Fold Line. I am back this week with the edit. This is our weekly roundup of new sewing pattern releases. It has been a really good week. We've got some really nice things to talk to you about, so I'm going to get started. The first pattern I've got was probably the biggest release of the week. It's the Tilly and the Buttons Mabel dress and blouse. This came out kind of middle of the week, I think it was about the middle of the week. So this pattern comes as a paper and a PDF. In terms of sizing on this one, it comes in a UK 6 to 34. I love this. I think it's a really interesting pattern from Tilly. I think it is quite different from her other patterns. And yeah, I really like it. So let's have a look at the line drawing so we can see what is going on. So with everything of with Tilly's patterns, you usually have one kind of thing that you learn, a new skill if you haven't done it before, and the skill that you'd learn with this pattern is shearing. So there is a video that goes alongside the pattern to kind of teach you how to do it. There is shearing you can see around the waistline and also at the cuff of the sleeve. So there are two sleeve length options. There's a long sleeve and a shorter sleeve, but both have that little kind of shearing detail. There's this really lovely square neckline with a kind of gather and tie at the front. This creates quite a nice, I mean, technically it's a square neckline, but actually when you look at it on the model, it's kind of slightly more sweetheart in shape. The dress is kind of a midi length, and I really love the long sleeves on this with this sort of bell shape and the sheared cuffs. I think it's a really great pattern. I think you could wear this to a wedding. I really like the top version of this as well. I think it's super cute. I also think that you could make this top version if you want something a bit looser without the shearing at the waist. You could just leave that off and just have that kind of little flirty neckline option. I think it's a really lovely pattern. So if you're looking at something kind of springy, summery, or you've got a kind of a summer event coming up, this would be perfect for it. So go and have a look, see if it's your bag. Not that I planned that at all, but moving into bags, there is the other big release for this week is the Merchant of Mills Frankly Day Pack. And I really hope I've said Frankly correctly when you see the spelling. I think that's how you say it. So this pattern is done in a collaboration with an accessory designer called Frankly Craftwear. I think this is really interesting kind of move into hardware for them. So let's have a look at it, because there's a lot going on with this rucksack. It to me is like a proper rucksack. I think you'd learn loads making this. It's got that sort of you know, that sort of elastic that you have on the back of proper rucksacks. You can see where you can add extra things in. There are pockets on the side for water bottles. There's an internal pocket as well for a laptop. I think you're just going to learn loads. There's a really lovely video which I'll pop a link for down below with the collaboration and the kind of designer talking about how she came up with the bag. And I thought it was really interesting. She was talking about how she used different fabrics, and actually looking at this and the amount of seams there are loads of really interesting things that I think you guys could do with fabrication. You know, you've got, I don't know about you, but some fabrics I've got that are so precious, I keep the like last little squares of it. But you could then use kind of things that you've got kicking around at home, kind of precious bits to make. You could just add the kind of water bottle pockets in like a little bit of something special that you've got. But there's loads of different ways that you could play with it. You could add some leather paneling. There's lots of things. And I just thought, if you have enjoyed, because a lot of people seem to be making bags at the moment, and if you've enjoyed this and you want to kind of up your bag game, this would definitely be the way to go, because it's going to be a really involved make, but you can learn loads when you do it. So there's that. And also I thought this is actually a really nice thing to make as a present for someone. It's such a useful bag. It's unisex. You can make it for a kid, you can make it for an adult. It could be a really nice kind of gifting present. But an involved make, so you want to start early if you're thinking about gifting. So we've had a few new Vicky Sews patterns. The one that I want to talk to you about is the Abby jacket. And I also want to just say that the Vicky Sews patterns going forward, they are changing how they do the pattern. So anyone who has bought one in the past will know that you had to buy an individual height and then an individual size pattern, which everyone found quite hard. I completely agree. It was quite limiting. You weren't, especially if most of us span between multiple sizes. But anyway, they are now nesting all their patterns. So you just pick your height, which is really handy. So they have 4 different height options. So 5'1" to 5'3", 5'4" to 5'6", 5'7" to 5'9", 5'10" to 6'1". You just pick your height and then you get the nested patterns in all the size range. So that is very handy. But anyway, I digress. The jacket that I want to talk about is called Abby. I think this is perfection. I love it. I also love the fabrication that they've used for this. That kind of fleecy Borg fabric is very much in at the moment. So it's actually quite a simple make. The thing that I think is interesting about it is its proportions. So you can see from here, it sits just below the waist. I love the big collar detail. I think that's really interesting. And I also really love that it's got a zip as the finish, and it's got this really lovely fly detail, kind of, you know what I mean, fly zip, kind of, what's the word for it? I can't think of the right, there is a word, please help me. What is the word? Zip, the zip placket? Zip placket, let's go with that. Really nice zip placket, which I think they have done, which I think you can see in the pictures, they've used a different fabric in a sort of tonal feel, but I think you could have quite a lot of fun actually. You could have something in a really lovely bright colour, or you know, just have a bit of fun with it. But I think the shape is really useful. I think it's a really great spring jacket, and you could also make it in something a bit lightweight and have it as a cardigan rather than a jacket. So it's quite a versatile pattern, and also not that complicated to sew either. So it's a double win, a kind of simple-ish jacket. So next up, we've got the Lilian blouse from Sew Over It. I included this because I thought this is quite a useful pattern, especially if you work somewhere that you have to be a bit smarter. So let's have a look at the line drawing, because the thing that I liked about it were the 2 variations. So it's quite a simple blouse, a kind of a low V, buttons down the front. There are 3 options for the sleeve. You can either have it slightly bell-shaped, 3/4 or short. The 2 variations which I thought was quite interesting is that both of them have a bust dart, but the 2 variations are to make them fitted or not fitted. So they have a fisheye dart, which is a dart that you, most darts start and finish at, or like at one end of the dart is a raw edge, whereas a fisheye dart is just pulling fabric out of a kind of flat piece. So it kind of goes small, big, and then small again. So you can imagine like for your waist. And it's got the fisheye on the front and the back of the blouse. So I think that's quite useful. You can also then make it without this, so you can have it as a bit more relaxed fit, but they would actually look quite different, I think, and different fabrications, meaning that this to me feels like quite a useful pattern if you do like. Also, this would look really nice with how they've got it styled with a pair of jeans. It kind of dresses something up. But I think if you do work somewhere where you have to be a bit smarter, I do think this could be quite useful, because you can make it in different fabrications and it'll look totally, totally different. So, oh, I haven't said the key things. It comes in, it's a PDF only, this pattern, and it comes in 2 size bandings, sizes 6 to 20 and sizes 18 to 30. So next up, we've got another jacket. This is the Sewing Workshop Charlie Bomber. It is a PDF only, and it comes in sizes UK 6 to 20. I really love the shape of this, and it's got some interesting seam details. So it's called a bomber jacket. It has some bomber jacket features. It's got that really lovely cuffing around the bottom. It's got cuffing around the cuff, and it's then got this really big kind of statement funnel neck, which you can either have it open or zipped up, so it kind of keeps you cozy. I really like the seam line on the shoulders. I think it's really interesting, that little like cutout detail. And I like how they've made it where they've added in an extra seam across the top. So there's quite a lot of things that I think that you could do with different types of fabric, mixing fabrics. You could have quite a lot of fun with this. So that to me was like a really nice kind of fun and interesting option. So last but not least, we have got 3 patterns from Waves and Wild. These are kids patterns, and it's basically the same. It's the same shape, but with 3 different ages. So there's a baby version, there's a boys version, and then there's a girls version. So the baby version is ages premature up to 12 years. And then the 2 other versions is the boys versions, which are cut slightly straighter in the hip. These don't have ages on, so this goes then into sort of sizing, but kind of teenage. And then there's a girls version, which is cut with curves in it. So I thought this was quite a useful, it's a very useful shape. So if I show you the line drawing, that it's the same across the 3 patterns. I should say that it's called the Field Trip Joggers. I have got this far and haven't even told you the title. So they're a standard pair of joggers. There's an optional patch pocket that you can put kind of halfway up the leg that gives them a sort of a cargo-y feel. They've got cuffing around the bottom, pockets as well, and there are kind of 3 or 4 different options that you can play around, with the patch pockets, so you can pick different variations. But I really liked this. I thought this was a very useful item. If you do make clothes for children, I like that it has such a big age range, and you can just buy it once and you can be making the same pattern for like 10 years. And who doesn't need a pair of tracksuit bottoms, because they're just very useful, easy to wash, and you don't mind so much when they get trashed. Yeah, so there's those 3 as well, so do go and have a look at all of those. That is it for me this week. I hope that was useful and you found something nice to sew, and you're having a lovely weekend. I will be back soon with another video. Bye!